What's the fastest you've seen someone go from being alive to heaven? Every Sunday for 3 years, me and Kirsten hosted these massive seafood boils at our house, not thinking it would take one of our lives. We'd invite 6 or 8 friends over and go absolutely crazy with the food. I'm talking pounds of shrimp and crawfish and corn and potatoes, all dumped on newspaper-covered tables. But the real star was the butter. We didn't just melt a stick or two like normal people. We made entire pots of garlic butter for dipping. Kirsten would start Saturday night making what she called her butter stations. 3 slow cookers filled with butter mixed with different seasonings. One with cayenne and paprika, one with fresh herbs from our garden, one with enough garlic to kill a vampire. By Sunday afternoon, our whole house smelled like a butter factory, and our friends would show up practically drooling. Duke loved seafood Sundays, too. He was this big, dopey golden retriever who'd camp out under the table waiting for someone to drop a piece of shrimp. We trained him not to beg, but he'd give everyone these sad eyes until somebody cracked and snuck him something. He had this whole routine where he'd do a lap around the table, visiting each person, like he was working the room at a party. That Sunday started like all the others. I was setting up tables in the backyard while Kirsten prepped the food. Our friends Talia and Francisco came early to help like they always did. Talia was pregnant with their first kid and kept joking about eating for 2 while stealing bites of corn. Francisco was telling us about his new job while arranging chairs. Everything felt normal and happy. We were almost ready to eat when Kirsten made the comment that changed everything. She was carrying out another pot of melted butter when she stopped and looked at all the food spread out. "You know, this much butter is probably gonna kill someone someday," she said, laughing. But something about the way she said it stuck with me. I looked at the 3 slow cookers full of golden liquid and the stick of butter melting on the corn and suddenly felt kind of sick. We really were going overboard. I thought about Francisco's dad who just had heart surgery and Talia's pregnancy and my own dad's cholesterol problems. While everyone was getting their first round of food, I quietly started clearing some of the butter. I dumped 1 whole slow cooker into an empty paint bucket from the garage. Then I scraped the butter off half the corn and added that too. I figured we still had plenty left and nobody needed that much anyway. I walked the bucket out to the trash cans on the side of the house, feeling good about making a healthier choice for once. The rest of the dinner went great. Everyone still ate too much and nobody even noticed the missing butter. We played cornhole in the backyard and Talia beat everyone despite being 6 months pregnant. Francisco told embarrassing stories about his new boss. Kirsten and I cleaned up together after everyone left, just enjoying the quiet evening. I was putting away the last of the chairs when I heard Kirsten scream from the side yard. I ran over and found her kneeling next to Duke, who was hunched over in the grass. There was vomit everywhere, and he'd had diarrhea all over himself. His whole body was shaking, and his breathing sounded wrong like he couldn't get enough air. That's when I saw the paint bucket tipped over next to the trash cans. It was completely empty, except for a greasy film on the sides. Duke had eaten probably 2 pounds of pure butter. My stomach dropped as I realized what I'd done. I'd put it right where he could reach it, and the smell must have driven him crazy. We wrapped Duke in a blanket and rushed him to the emergency vet. Kirsten drove while I held him in the back seat trying to keep him calm. He kept looking at me with these confused eyes like he didn't understand why he felt so bad. I just kept petting his head and telling him he'd be okay, even though I wasn't sure it was true. The vet took him back immediately while we sat in the waiting room. Kirsten held my hand so tight it hurt, but I didn't say anything. They came out after an hour saying his pancreas was inflamed and there were blockages in his intestines. They needed to do emergency surgery, but warned us it was really serious. We waited 4 more hours. Other people came and went with their sick pets, but we just sat there. Finally, the vet came out with that look on her face that told us everything. Duke hadn't made it. The butter had caused acute pancreatitis, and his organs started shutting down. She said it looked like this wasn't the first time he'd gotten into large amounts of fat. That's when we realized Duke must have been getting into our butter every single Sunday for who knows how long. All those times we thought he was just begging for shrimp, he was probably sneaking off to find our discarded butter containers. We'd been slowly poisoning him with our weekend tradition and didn't even know it.